All right. So today we are going to really work on the skills that lead up to having clients take on their phase two. So, one of the things that I want to start with is sometimes there's things that happen in this business that cause us all to pause and realize that there's a better way to do it. And I think what's been happening with the greater teams is that we are realizing that we may have complicated sponsoring. Not that we may have, that we did. And that less people are taking on their phase two of plan because we've complicated it. And I'll start with owning that as a leader. Um, I think that it always starts with the leader. And I think that if we can see those things in ourselves and then nimbly, like in a nimble way, fix them, then we can do great things. And I think that I'd like to start with this. Okay. So when you look at the Optavia coaching guide, this is just like if we were starting a job and we get all excited about working for other people. Okay. I want you to think about that for a minute. When you're going to go work for someone else, you know how it is. I got to get new outfits. I got to get my nails done. I want to make sure this is done. I got to organize my house because I'm going back to work. I want to make sure that the kids are good. I want to make sure I have caregivers. And I really want you to sit with that for a minute and think about when and if we've had to go work for someone else and get a fraction of our worth paid out to us. Why do we do that? Why do we do so much work and energy to go and help another person to build their dream? But when it comes to ours, and when it comes to building freedom, like true freedom, then we're like, well, I'll see if I can squeeze it in. I'll see if I can get to it. Um, yeah, I might take notes on this. I might not. I might, like, we do not actually treat it the same way that we treat other things, right? And so I know that for me, when I heard that the first time from my mentors, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a piercing truth, right? That's like a piercing truth that I need to not feel guilty about because guilty is not productive. But I need to really sit with that and go, hold on a second. I started a health coaching business for $199. Let me see what my job description says. Okay. So I'd like to start there, right from the top. What does it mean to be an independent Optavia coach? The very first sentence is going to change everything for us. The power of this sentence could change everything for you starting tomorrow. And I really want to unpack this. Very first sentence: we are guides that help people achieve a higher level of health and well being in their life. We are guides. I wish that, I mean, we can do it if we want, right? I'm going to start talking about myself as a guide, as there's all kinds of names that we could call ourselves: transformation guides. We could call ourselves choice architects, right? We help people to have good choice architecture. Okay. We help people by guiding them to the same places that we have found success in. So what if starting today, we changed our message in our heart and in our mind first, and then let that come out of our mouth and let that be the overflow of how we talk about helping people. So, for instance, what I mean is, who is the health coach for the client? Anybody, take yourself off mute. Who is their actual health coach?
Dr. A.
Dr. A is their health coach. He's talking to them. Do you notice the word and the context and the actual way he words it is, he, when you're reading your life book, he is using I and you and we. Okay. So unfortunately, when the fun goes out of this business, it's because we start being their actual health coach and they start associating everything with us. Oh, you didn't get back to me in time. I needed this question. I needed, or I'm going to need longer check-ins, or you seem to be busy. oh my gosh, wait a second. Have I set the tone that I am the health coach and that I am the hero and that I hold all the keys to your success? Do you know that when Tim and I first started our health coaching business, that actually was how we were? We were the hero coaches, and it took all the fun out of the business and it stressed me out. And I felt really burdened by this instead of enjoying it. And now I'm enjoying sharing with all of you how I failed and how you don't have to do that, because that is very healing to me to know that, like, you don't have to do that because I did it. So, how cool is it that we start today's training with, we are guides that help people achieve a higher level of health and well being in their life. We awaken potential by creating trust and rapport so they become intrinsically self motivated. Intrinsic means that nothing outside of them is going to make it happen, that it's happening from the inside. Okay. So those take skills, and the trainings we have are definitely suited for developing your skills and awakening the client. And if you've been on calls with your mentor where you're like, ah, how did they get them to say that or do that? Okay, it's because we've had more practice awakening them. And you're going to do it too, but you just need more practice doing those kind of things. Okay. So, the very first nugget that I have for you guys is, how would your business change if you started communicating from the very, very, very first interaction that you're a guide and that you're still on the way, you're still on the journey, um, you're still on the health path, right? Whether you're in induction with them, whether you're in transition ahead of them, or whether you're in optimization ahead of them, you're still on the path. You're a peer to peer, you're not an expert. And I love to tell clients, you know what I'm certified on? This, not the food, not the product. I'm not a product specialist. I am not a nutritionist, dietitian, or whatever. That's what you say. That is the truth. I am not a health enthusiast. Like, I'm actually certified on this, right? And so this allows that. How does that play in? Because now they're going to get breakthrough here. Okay. So as we continue, step one is, who's the coach? Dr. A. How often do you say that in your interactions with your clients so they start to get the drift that you're not their hero coach? Okay, I don't say it often enough, but I'm starting to. Okay, and you can join me so that you can have that freedom. The other thing is, what if we started using terminology like guiding your friends and family the way that I'm guiding you, instead of saying you could become a health coach, right? They're thinking, oh my gosh, a coach. This is like a soccer coach. If you're a soccer coach, you have to know all the rules of the game. You have to know how to play the sport, and now you're an expert and you're coaching a team, right? We don't want them to have that view of us, because then what happens naturally is what? They think, I'm not an expert yet, so I can't coach my sister or my brother or my cousin, because I'll send them to you because you've been behaving like an expert. So I'll send them to you because I don't feel like an expert. Okay. So do you see how, just by changing our language and saying guides, that we're going to bring more people into their phase two of program? Okay. So let's talk about that. Everybody is invited to phase two. Phase two of program, if we were sitting with Dr. A, he would be so sad, like so sad, if he thought that people thought that they had to be an expert to take on phase two. Okay. He would be like, oh my gosh, what are you guys messaging out there? Because you've messed up my mission that I have the antidote for society. And I want marriages to be healthier. And I want people to stop over drinking or overeating, or I want to deal with the way that they're handling stress. And we just had this nutrition arm, but the rest of our body was about personal development. And I think the problem that happened to all of us was that we were posting so many before and afters, before and afters, before and afters, which is great because that's how people get the drift that you're a health coach guide, right? But the problem is it puts us in a box of, oh, you guys are a weight loss company. And instead of people seeing it like, you know what? We're a personal development organization. And the first thing we do is we do focus on getting you to a healthy weight. But look at all the other things that we're going to pursue that take time, right? Okay, so moving on, we're going to also talk about when does this come up and how? And how do we say it? And what words do we use? And how does that look? So I want to start giving you that. This is where I'd like it to be interactive if we can. And then I'll give you a standard that we can practice together. But how do you guys think that you would start talking about their phase 2 of program and guiding other people the way that you're going to guide them, the way that your coach guided you? How could we talk about that on the health assessment? And if you were to talk about it on the health assessment, how would you do that? And I'll tell you a way that I do it so that you can see, like, okay, she does it this way, but let's start critically thinking about it because this will change things. So, if we want to normalize phase 2, we need to start talking about it on the health assessment. Where on the health assessment would you talk about it and how? If anybody wants to just pull themselves off of mute and share.
Rachel, it's Crystal.
Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on the road, so sorry if I don't make eye contact.
No,
but
don't.
I wanted to share, I actually had a health assessment this morning, and exactly what you're talking about. I had mentioned it to her at the very end before we closed up. I asked her, okay, who needs to get healthy with you? And she's like, my husband and my 14-year-old son. And she kind of went into detail a little bit what was going on. And I said, great. And I go, we're going to focus on getting you healthy, Mom. Just like you said, you need, we kind of went through again what she was looking for, what she needed. I said, we're going to go ahead and focus and get you healthy, start getting you healthy. And I go, and then eventually once, what did I say? I said, once we get you feeling good, I'm going to go ahead and teach you and guide you on how to help hubby and your son.
Oh,
and she was like, oh, okay, great.
That's it. That is literally it. That's beautiful, Crystal. I am so proud of you for demystifying phase 2. Okay. And it is that simple. Okay. We remember when you think about this, you have to ask yourself, since I've become a health coach, my phase 2, AKA guiding other people, have I grown? Have I evolved? Do I feel an added layer of accountability? And that is either true or false. Okay. For me, it's a hard truth. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. The minute I bought my kit, I felt more accountable. The minute I started reading my materials, I felt more interested in the life book. I felt more interested in the podcast. I was listening harder because I was listening for me, but I was listening for the people that I had invited into program. So I was definitely more attentive. And then as I was teaching it for the very first time, when I taught a concept that I had just learned, I immediately felt like I understood it better. Where I was like, now I really get that. I just taught it to my friend, you know? So we either believe that or we don't. There is no angle here as far. I think that if we're talking just like really candid, let's talk really candid. The interesting thing is the truth is that what I just said, but because there's a financial element to it, money always ruins everything, right? Or it can. Talking about money can ruin things, right? So our connection with like friends and money and stuff is like, oh, that changed it, right? So I think that's what we're really dealing with is like because there's a compensation for our phase 2. I think that's where our chatter comes from. For me, it did, you know. And now I'm working through that and realizing another truth. And the truth is, the saddest thing in the world for me, and it bums me out. And I just got a text message right now before this power hour that said, I love this program. And I'm fearful that I'm not going to be able to afford it next month. And I'm talking to my husband and I'm praying that we can afford it next month. But I'm giving you a heads up that finances are tight for me right now. My husband just lost his second job. So here's the second reality for us that we either ignore or we get behind. The only reason that stops a lot of our clients is money. Okay. So now we're like, all right, you could guide mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, pastor, whoever. You were going to guide them anyway. And Optavia is going to reward you to where 5 people pay for their entire program. So is that helpful or not? Right? Where they're like going to cancel or tiptoe around short orders. What if we could remove that too and go, no, no, no. Finances will not be a problem because I'm going to show you by sharing, by just being a guide to the people that you would guide for free, right? Because you love them, you're going to have your program paid for. Does that help your household? Would that take the pressure off, right? And it's like, yeah, but not very many people want to tell us that until it's time to cancel. Okay. And so, what we're doing by getting the guiding, chasing better in front of them sooner than later is we're showing them, hey, look at these people in here. They're just sharing what they would have shared for free and they're paying for their program before we get that 911. Okay. So that's the second thing that I feel really strongly about is makes me awfully sad to know that money is the barrier of health for so many people. Like they just, that's what it is. Okay. So let's talk about it. Let's get an actual like verbiage for the health assessment. It's just what Crystal said. We had talked about this the other day. Here's the way I would do it. You could do it other ways, but here's one way. On a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy are your surroundings? Here's another way to ask that on the health assessment. I might say, I'm going to think of you, Jody, because I'm looking at you. Jody, are your top 5 friends that you hang out with, would you say that they're healthier than you or unhealthier than you?
Well, 3 of my best friends are on programs, so I would say they're really healthy.
Yay, I love that. So look at that. I mean, fact number 3. When somebody coaches, they go and get their top 5 circle healthy. Now, Jody, if she goes to dinner, if she goes out and she says, ladies, I am still in fat burn, like I'm going to do a bubbly water or some iced tea, and who wants to share a lean and green with me? Like, how much easier is it for her to stay on track because she's getting her circle healthy, right? So these are either true things or false things. So far, take yourself off mute if they're false. But so far, I feel like we're tracking the truth. Okay.
Now, I'd have to say, honestly, I just came from Lazy Dog
Uh
with
huh.
a girlfriend that's contemplating plan. I had club soda and the lettuce wraps, tried to pick as many carrots out as possible, but definitely was trying to set the example of, look, I can come out with you and we can have a great lunch and everything's normal.
I love it.
It's the way it was a year and a half ago was the last time we got together.
That's so awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Jody. Thank you so much. But on the health assessment, consider asking if their top 5 circle is healthier or unhealthier than they are. Okay. That's a neat way to ask about surroundings. Another way to ask around surroundings is my favorite must have question on your health assessment. Who needs to get healthy with you? Not who would like to, not do you think there's anybody that phraseology is so important, right? Like the words are so important. Michelle Offerman, who needs to get healthy with you? And then I don't say another word. And guys, do not be afraid of the awkward turtle pause. Okay. Where it's like pause and you're going like, "Ugh." Okay. From my experience, what I'm going to tell you is they have never not provided us a name. Okay. So just hold on to the awkward pause, trust it, and they're going to say, oh, you know what? My sister-in-law, she's diabetic. She's diabetic type 2. As a matter of fact, she just was diagnosed. And I know they told her that if she got her diet under control, she probably didn't need to be on medicine, blah, blah, blah. She's giving you a window into her world. And you're like, great. Okay, thank you for that. That's helpful. The other thing is, let's use facts as our friends too, not for that call, but for your knowledge. In this book, in the Habits of Health book, it also teaches us that, and I'll give you guys the page number later once I find it, but it teaches us that if our friends are overweight, we have a 58% chance of being overweight. If our spouse is overweight, it goes down to like 42%. And if a sibling is overweight, it's somewhere around the same as spouse, like 38 to 42. And this is a Harvard study, okay, where they paid to study this and come up with that stat. So tell me, is it not important that we give them tools to get into their community and start changing it? Because if they stay healthy in that sick community, they're probably going to relapse. They're probably going to have a relapse. Okay. And that's not our statistics. That's just like the way that it is. Okay. That you've heard that saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. We hear that a lot. And that is a really important thing to start talking to them about. So we talked about healthy surroundings. Who needs to get healthy with you? Get a couple names. You could take it a step further and you could say, do you have a diet buddy that you've ever done any of these diets with, you know? And they might name a diet buddy too. Okay. So now we've got something to come back to. Okay. So, someone's coming in the room. Let me just, okay, there we go. All right. So with that, the next place we're going to see it is on the kickoff call. This is the night before call. Okay. So on the night before call. So what am I talking about? Specifically, I'm helping you guys to drip and normalize phase 2 of program, which is guiding other people. Okay. That's all we're doing. We're figuring out, how do we make that normal? How do we not make it weird or awkward? That's the whole point of this training if you're just coming in. So we talked about it on the health assessment. Here's another way of saying it on the health assessment. The fact that you already have a mindset that is ready to create lifelong change is going to inspire a lot of people around you. And so many of our clients are doing this with their family and friends. And we're going to help you to coach them when they start noticing the magic that's happening in you, right? So these are another way of saying the same thing as like, because remember on the health assessment, we're awakening them to stop dieting and to start thinking about lifelong transformation. We can say on that call, the fact that you're going to have these incredible results, you're not going to be able to hide transformation. Okay. And so, sorry about that. Okay. So with that, the other thing on the health assessment is to make sure that if they have a saboteur, right? Like somebody that that's the other thing I ask is there any saboteurs in your life that are like, you know, you go to get healthy and all of a sudden they're bringing home Ben and Jerry's, you know, that kind of thing. The health assessment, in order to talk about the night before call, like or the week 1 or the night before call, consider having scores for their sleep. On a scale of 1 to 10, how's your sleep? On a scale of 1 to 10, how's your eating? On a scale of 1 to 10, how's your energy throughout the day? On a scale of 1 to 10, how's your stress? How's your cravings? And how hungry are you? Now, remember, the reason on the health assessment that we have all of those existing, like this is their current reality. Okay, remember that we work in structured tension. Current reality, desired outcome, secondary choices are going to lead us there. That's always our framework for coaching. But remember, these secondary, these initial current realities, when we see them go, like, let's take sleep. Say that they go, yeah, my sleep is like a 4. It's terrible. I get up all night to pee. I'm not doing good. I don't feel rested when I wake up. Now, On the 1 week call, we check on sleep, we check on energy, we check on cravings, we check on hunger. Because how cool is it to say, look at what we've done in a week? Do you understand why we don't need you to get to your healthy weight to start helping your friends? Look what we did in 7 days. In 7 days, we lost X, Y, or Z inches or pounds. Your sleep went from a 4 to a 9. Your energy went from a 4 to a 10 and a half, where people are questioning you. you know, look what we did in 7 days. So why would we encourage them to take longer than need be to start helping their mom, their dad, their cousin? Because in 7 days, we took them from here to here. Okay. It's fascinating. And if we're excited about it and telling them, imagine at the end of this week. So we're on the night before call now. Okay. I kind of jumped ahead to that like contrast, but let's back up the bus. We started with the health assessment drip. Now we're on to the night before call. I like to show them nourished on the night before call. I do. I like to share my screen. I like it to be a Zoom. I like to let them know the night before call takes 15 minutes, and I make sure as heck they watch the video. I don't do any night before calls until they've watched the video, opened the box, and have their guidebook open, ready to go on page 18, 19, and 20. And I have all of this laid out, and they'll often say, I'm ready for my call. And I say, awesome. Did you watch the video? Oh, not yet. Okay, no problem. Watch it and text me when you're done. We'll jump on my Zoom then. Okay. Why am I doing that? Because I don't want to answer a ton of questions around program. I'd rather give them a tour of Nourished and be able to go in and say, you know what? Look at this. Pretend we're in Nourished right now. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open up Nourished. And I'm going to say, oh my goodness, you haven't accepted your invite. Can we do that real quick? Because I need them in there, right? I'm only going to help them with food talk for a week. So I can't have them confused about food. But guess what? I'm dripping when I go to Nourished, and I show them the cover page of that. And let's just go there really quick together, because I think it'll be neat for you guys to see it actually exactly how I do that. And let me go in, and I'm going to share my screen really quick here. All right. And here we are, right? So we're in Nourished. And what I let them know is, look at how many people are in here. This group started with 20 people. I cannot wait to see who you're going to add to Nourished. You're going to have a bunch of your friends in here at some point that are going to be learning all these new concepts like you are. So I've added a bunch of people. You're going to add a bunch of people. And what we're doing here is we're getting a lot of people out of the diet mentality, and we're teaching them true health. Now, on the night before call, I show them other things, right? I definitely go to media. I definitely go to albums, and I definitely show them lean and green recipes that I'd like them to stick to, so that I know that they're in the parameters of fat burn and that they're not eating diet food. Okay. I also show them the search button quickly, because I want them to know when you ask me about Starbucks, right? I don't need to be asked that, because look at, it's all here. Okay. So these are the ways that we get to start teaching them how to be independent, so that they can, like, listen, if I answer this Starbucks question and I know the answer, am I showing them that coaching is easy or hard? How much time are they going to have to coach with me if they have to answer every food question that comes their way, right? I used to mess this up so badly, you guys. I was such a hero coach. And I'm telling you, if we continue to do that, we will not inspire anybody to take on their phase 2. Because they're going to go, this girl answers me at every hour of the day. She's giving me these huge narratives. There is zero chance I could do this for my friends. Zero. Okay. They're not going to have the capacity to do it. They're not going to want to do it, because we did not make it look easy. Okay. So that's the second thing, is on the night before call, excite them about adding people to Nourish and let them know you are going to add so many people to this group. I can't wait to see who you impact the way that they're going to love this community. Talk it up, make it exciting, make it normal for them to invite their friends. Okay. So on the kickoff call, another way to say something is a definite side effect of this program is that you're going to lose weight and inches so fast that everyone's going to want to know what you're doing. I make a joke and say they're going to ask you, is it legal and can I do it? It's like a funny. That's my personality. That's what I do. So they'll giggle and I'll say, trust me. And it's so fun when you start helping your friends and family to do this. You're going to love guiding people the way that I'm guiding you. And this week, I'm going to show you how simple it is to guide them and get them started. Okay. So now ask yourself, is it simple when you start a client, or are you working really hard week one? And that's part of why people won't coach with us, as to my former point. So are you sending those day 1 through 7 texts? Are you pushing them to Nourish for their food questions? Are you, when they ask you the question, are you tagging them in Nourish? If they ask you a question, are you sending them a podcast that matches that question? Where they're like, why do I have to drink so much water? You know what? I'm going to send you the hydration podcast. Great question. Or if they're asking you a ton of science questions around keto and carbs and macros, oh, yeah, you're going to love the book challenge on Saturday. You sound like someone who loves information. And now we're recording them. So if you miss it, you can get it in Nourished, right? So you guys see that we're kind of continually, think of the toddler that you go to the party with and they're hanging on your leg. And you're trying to get them off of your leg and go interact with other people. That's what coaching is like. Okay. So now on day 4, the text message that you may want to consider, okay, is the day 4 text. It's a coach drip. Have you guys seen that day 1 through 7 text? Is anybody here not using day 1 through 7 text messages with their clients? Or do we all use those? The canned, like, cut and paste kind of deals, right? We're all using those. If you're not, talk to your mentor, because you're working hard and we have everything baked in there and they've got little videos and everything. So on day 4, you might let them know, like, because remember, we're supposed to have a phone call with them on day 4. Okay. So how this works is they're supposed to be sending you lean and greens. You're giving them the day 1 through 7s. On day 4, it's ideal to say, I would like to touch base with you because starting tomorrow, you're going into fat burn. Okay. How are you feeling? This conversation, you guys, it's like 4 minutes long. Okay. So you need to let them know this. I just need to literally touch base with you for like 2 to 3 minutes. Now, answering any questions, because if they don't get into fat burn on day 4, how is that 7-day integration call going to go with your coach that's on the line, right? Where I got on one recently. I have never felt so ill prepared in my life because there was no check-ins done midweek. We heard about all the train wreck on that 7-day call. And that should have been handled days 3 and 4. And right, if we're not seeing pictures of the lean and green, if we're seeing carrots on the plate, if they're saying on day 4, I'm starving, Valerie, I am starving. And you're like, you're starving on day 4? What's going on? Right. So we don't want to wait till day 7 when our mentor's on the phone and they're like, so what are you loving? And they're like, I hate this. That's not the point of that call. That call was to be celebratory, assuming they've been in fat burn, assuming they're starting to sleep and eat and feel good. So now we got to go do all this damage control, right? And instead we could have done that on day 4. Okay. So a quick, how are you doing? I mean, your lean and greens look beautiful. You're a natural at this. You're doing so well. And you're going to keep inspiring so many people through this program. People's jaws are going to drop when they see your results at the end of this week and what you've created. So you're just affirming them and also you're correcting them. So now let's move on to, the next time they're going to hear about phase 2 and guiding other people, it's going to be with a 1-week integration call with your mentor. And we now listen, if we get on that call and they're just a hot mess, we are not really dripping phase 2, guys. We have to pivot and clean it up and get them in fat burn and get them happy, because we can't say, oh my gosh, you're loving program when they're not loving program, right? So that's why I want you to think of, like, after the first week, it gets really easy to coach. You're just checking in once a week for 7 to 10 minutes on the life book. So it's hard to drip coaching on the 7-day call if they are not experiencing joy. It was our job to check their joy propensity all throughout the week, so that by the time on day 8, 9, 10, when the mentor gets on, they can do a systems check and celebrate them and let them know, hey, listen, I am a client, but I'm also a coach. And I tell my story. This is a great time for your mentor to tell their story. I started phase 2 of my program 2 years ago. And I tell my story is to my, this is how I do it exactly, is I let them know, you're doing amazing. You've lost 7 pounds in 7 days. That is miraculous. Or you've lost 4 inches off of your waist and hips. That is incredible. When was the last time you did that? Oh, never. Great. Your energy went from a 4 to an 8. Your sleep went from a 4 to an 8. You're 7 days in this program. So just like on your health assessment, when you said your sister and your brother needed to get healthy, we're going to help you to do that. And that's called phase 2 of program, where you start guiding them a few fuelings ahead. You're a few fuelings ahead, and you can start guiding them the way that we're guiding you. And at that time, if they have great resistance to it, then we let them know they can be a referral. Okay. But how that language is this, it's this tight. I'll say, Natasha, it is not a matter of if, but when you start guiding other people on this journey. You're not going to be able to keep this a secret, because you're going to continue to heal and you cannot hide transformation. So I'm going to add you to a group called Chasing Better. And this group is where you're going to see the other aspects of health. Okay. You're seeing in Nourished, you're seeing healthy body and the nutrition side of our program. That's only 25% of our program. The other 75% of our program, you're going to see in Chasing Better. The increased accountability, the increased healthy finances, and the increased healthy mindset. Okay. I'm going to add you to this group called Chasing Better. You'll just need to accept your invite, because when you start phase 2 of program, you're really going to soar, because I started soaring when I started coaching people with what I was learning. Once I started teaching it, I started really learning it. And I can't wait for you to do that. Okay. Drip. Done. We add them to Chasing Better. Now here's what's happening. Little sneak peek on this new process that we're doing. People are buying their kit without telling us in there. Yesterday, we had 3 clients that were in Chasing Better just go ahead and buy their coaching kit. They didn't even have a Coach Explore. It was like, I'm here, I was going to refer, I'm going to buy my kit. And that was like, wow, right? Because they were inspired and they were able to see what's possible. So remember that when they're in Nourished, they're not going to say, well, some people have, but it's rare, but they're not going to say things like, I am not going to be able to pay for my program next month. Okay. Some people have said that in Nourished, but again, it's rare. Okay. Our friends and family are not going to tell us that their whole life is financed. They're not going to tell us that they're one house payment away from being homeless. Okay. That has to be something they see in Chasing Better, where they're going like, I love that I'm getting healthy in my body, but my finances are so messed up, or I hate my job and I drive this commute every day and I hate it. And it's part of why I was overeating. where are they going to see that? So we had to create a separate page called Chasing Better, where they can see what's possible by guiding their friends and family. So this is a brand new group. It's just like Nourished. We add them to the group, we tag them, and we message them. Let me pivot right now the last couple of minutes and show you guys what I'm talking about. So real quick, this group will mean not a lot if we haven't done a good job of dripping up to this point, okay? So if you haven't normalized the guiding and the things that we've talked about, then they are not going to really get a lot out of this Chasing Better group. They're not going to get what they could get if we don't start talking differently, from the health assessment to the night before call to the day 1 through 7 text to the integration call. And oh my Lanta, if you're missing your integration call, if you're watching me on this playback and you're like, I don't do 1 week integration calls with my mentor, there's really no chance of anyone joining your team. It's very, very rare that that will happen, because the 1 week integration call or the 1 month, that is the key to our business, to keeping them happy and letting them know how to pay this forward. Okay, so here's Chasing Better. All right, so they're here and you invite them, right? Let me just see, Jody. I saw your comment, so I just want to. Am I saying that right, Jody? Maybe you're already added. Oh no. Okay, is this right? Okay, so you're invited now, my friend. And this is all new, so don't worry too much, because especially with newer coaches, we're trying not to overwhelm in their strong start, right? So don't worry about that. But basically, when you get your client in here, they need to accept the invite. If they don't accept the invite, it's going to expire, and then they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so then from here you go into the guides, and here's an overview of what we do in our business model, our success, and a health coaching FAQ. Everything you guys want to know about coaching is right here. Okay, so what I do is I might just go ahead and tag in this, and as soon as you accept it, it'll go. Let's say you don't accept it and I still want to tag you in it. I can try by doing this. Oh, what happened? It's not coming up. Usually if you do that, it will work, the @ sign in front of it. But either way, you need to tag someone that's in here, right? And after they've added, you can tag them in this. Now, what this is a 13-minute video on coaching, okay? High level. So you're gonna wanna add them, tag them, and message them in something, okay? So I'm just gonna pretend that I'm sending this to Crystal. Oh, can't spell today. I guess no one is coming up today. And I don't know why. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna do that. I've tagged her, I've added her, and now I'm gonna get out of there and I'm gonna think, Crystal, what do I want Crystal to see in Chasing Better? Maybe I wanna talk about being a mom, and is there any post in here on being a mom? Oh my gosh, I love Annika Relaford's story about being a mother and also providing from home. All of those things. So I might just take a minute and say, wow, these are some really cool mom stories that I want to add her in. You know, leaving our kids when they're sick, like that's so hard. Knowing that we don't have to do that anymore. We can create a life that works for us. And so I might also tag her in this and say, this thing is really wonky when you're zooming and you try to use tag anybody. Gosh, I cannot spell today. What is my problem? There we go. All right, so I might do this and just say, love the mom stories that are in here. We can design lives that work for us. Okay, there we go. I tagged her in something that I want her to see. And now I'm going to get out of there. So it's ATM, add tag message. Okay, so I'm going to get out of there and I'm going to go to a message and I'm just going to let her know because otherwise she won't know anything. I'm just going to say to her, hey friend, I added you to the group where you can see the other aspects of true health and well-being. I am looking, forward to seeing you in your phase 2, which is you guiding people on your heart to breakthrough or to health. Okay, so I have a message to her. Add tag message done. Okay, now if that happens, she's in here and she's going to watch and be a fly on the wall. Are we going to be like, do you want to coach? Do you want to coach? Do you want to coach? Nope, 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 nope. Just like we didn't do with plan, right? She's in there. She knows what's possible. It's not a secret. She can read and be inspired and know that if her premiere is coming up and she can't process it because of finances, that we can help. And that she doesn't have to give up her health because she had a bump, right? So now when the 30-day comes around, and this is where we're going to put a bow on it. When the 30-day comes around and she's lost 10 pounds and 14 inches and she's sleeping like a baby and everybody's asking and she's passed on not one referral, but maybe 2 because we guided her and let Dr. A coach her and let it look simple. Now, when the mentor comes on for that 1-month celebration call, it's more relevant, it's more timely, it's more impactful to celebrate them, go through everything we do. That call is not just to, oh, let's see you coach. No, we're like affirming them. We're talking about how proud we are and we mean it. And we're going through like integration and what part are they missing? And we're adding value and they have questions about exercise and all of that. We get all of that done on the 1-month call. But at the end of that call, we're going to invite them to start guiding other people again. Okay. And it's going to either be a hard, like, oh, no, I'm perfectly happy referring. I love my wellness credits and I'm giving all my people to Jody and I don't want to coach. Or like, great, we're not bringing it up again. Okay. Because they've been asked one time and they're in Chasing Better. And if they're saying no, we're leaving it. Now they will have to tell us when they want to coach. How does that happen? And how has that happened to me? When I've left it alone and I'm like, okay, they want to be referrals. I can't tell you how many people on this team said that to me and they're coaching today. And they have giant businesses, but they said no and no, right? How did it happen? They were on a Wednesday night call and they heard a coaching story and it rocked their world. And they realized I can do this. And I get these weird text messages at 10 o'clock at night. I think I'm ready to coach. I never said another word about it, right? So bringing them into community, there is no chance that anybody will want to be a guide with us if they don't experience our community. Okay. They have to experience it. They have to know what we are and what we're not. And there's no way to know what we are and what we're not until you experience it, right? So with that, I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to wrap up with a couple of questions. But I hope that this